Hi there. Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We continued our investigation last time. Learned some new stuff. Also learned that a guy didn't actually die, which was an interesting twist that I was not expecting, to be honest with you. But yeah, and then we talked to Mr. Garrideb again, which was nice because he's a cool dude. Um, and let's see, one thing I didn't do, I didn't examine this room properly in the last episode. I don't expect there to be a ton of evidence, but I don't know. You know me, I like to be thorough when exploring everything. And honestly, some of these dialogue exchanges were pretty funny, so I thought we could do that first, and then I guess go to the prison, maybe. Yeah, I think go. Yeah, I think visiting Natsume is probably the next move. But yeah. There's a single apron drying on that enormous cannon-shaped clothes horse. Look. Clothes horse? No, Mr. Naruhodo. That's a real cannon. I knew that. I was just testing you, obviously. Yeah, piece of history, that is. Seen plenty of action on the battlefield, I can tell you. Yeah, now the old girl and I are just enjoying the peace and quiet of retirement together. Yeah, I mean, since your wife is in jail and all. I imagine you don't have much else to spend time with. And of course, she'd come in handy if the enemy decided to launch an attack again. Is there a war going on that I don't know about? I mean, is there? I don't know. I don't think. I don't think there was like a home war at this point in time. Though you know, World War II was pretty rough on London or England in general. That's for sure. That's your military uniform, isn't it, Mr. Garrideb? Yeah, well, ceremonial garb, yes. Been hanging on the wall ever since my retirement bash. Not in active service now, you know. Yeah, it doesn't mean much to me anymore. You could have the old thing if you wanted it. Well, it might suit Lord Van Zeeks, perhaps. An overly ostentatious outfit like this could be just what he needs. Very tactful, Mrs. Otto. Very tactful indeed. I mean, it's a nice little jacket, I'd say. I mean, it is a little ostentatious, but I don't know, it would suit Lord Van Zeeks pretty well, all the same. Let's see. Oh yeah, let's look at the mortars. Ah, yes! Those enormous mortar shells! It's quite something seeing them up close, isn't it? Didn't you say something about firing them into the barracks, Mr. Garrideb? Ah, you remember, do ya? Just a little mishap that occurred during training one day. What are you doing firing on your own men? The captain bellowed at me. I'm not surprised. A little mishap doesn't really do it justice, does it? Eh, well, one has these little incidents when one's a hot-headed young private. Perhaps I should put some evidence that resulted from one of my little mishaps on display. Oh, does a great lawyer, like the great detective, want to exhibit some trophies of his finest moments? Yeah, why not? It'd be cool. I could have Mr. McGilded's overcoat, and like maybe Soseki Natsume's cat. Well, I do. Yeah, I'll keep his cat as a memento of my finest moments. And of course, can't forget the cat Flap-O-Mat. That fucking won me the election practically. Good to see Mr. Garrideb's Medal of Honor still proudly displayed on the wall. The inscription reads, "For distinguished participation," if you remember. Ah, yes, I remember. Because I remember thinking even I might stand a chance of picking up honors like that. Yeah, I mean, it is basically a participation trophy, which I don't have a problem with, but, you know. Wouldn't know what to look at me now, perhaps, but I had my devil-may-care days, you know. Devil-may-care? What did you get up to? Well, all in the past now, of course. And best left there. Best or not, I want to know now. Yeah, man, you can't just fucking tease me with, like, tales of, devil-may-careness and then just not elaborate further. Like, what the fuck, dude? Let's see. You look very dashing in your uniform there, Mr. Garrideb. Ah, that little portrait, eh? Joined by an art student who used to rent the room downstairs. Oh, you look so wonderfully young and courageous and strong. I mean, yeah, at least from what we can see. Yes, well, the chap presented it to me one day and asked if I'd let him off the month's rent in return. Oh, I see. So, you did, presumably. I bally well did not. Oh. Look, a portrait is a portrait, but, you know, rent is rent, eh? I mean, true, you can't, I mean, well, money is money, and you gotta take your money, I guess, but, I mean, it is a nice portrait. And yet it's still there, proudly on the wall. I mean, again, I get it, you know. We know where that screen is hiding now. The aftermath of the fiery altercation the other day. Don't suppose I'll be able to clear that mess up for some time now. Oh dear. This must be a very difficult situation for you. I'll say. People talk about twist of fates and whatnot. But this is a twist and a half. A rotten show all around. He's clearly struggling with everything that's happened. I mean, yeah, I can't blame him, you know. Oh yeah, also there are these books. Oh! A copy of Rant's magazine. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes is being read all over London. Isn't it wonderful? Naturally, one asks oneself if such a singular detective could really exist. But having met the chap, it's undeniable. He is most certainly singular. Yeah, that's for sure. Singularly dangerous. That's genuine public opinion for you, Mr. Zato. Perhaps it should be reflected in the stories. Make no mistake, Mr. Naruhodo. I intend to snuff out the sort of public opinion we just heard, personally. Zato means business. I'm starting to see where Mr. Sholmes' untainted reputation comes from now. Yeah, the fangirls and fanboys are pretty hardcore. There's a good view over the wintry East End from up here. It's an impressively great scene. There's really nothing comparable in Japan. And down below, Briar Road, partly blanketed in snow. And the pavement where poor Miss Green was struck in the back by that knife. Thinking about it, this is the only room in this building that actually has a window to the outside world. Sometimes, Great Britain really does seem like a strange land, doesn't it? Yeah, that's fair. I suppose all foreign cultures seem strange at first. Imagine how an Englishman would feel on arriving in Japan and seeing people with a chonmage top knot. I'm probably not pronouncing that. Well, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, those samurai top knots are a bit... Well, again, if you weren't familiar with the culture, it would look kind of out there. These shells look like they've been completely torn apart by a wild beast. Yeah, reminds me of the Battle of my Wand, don't you know? The experiences of a seasoned veteran. Enemy had us surrounded on all sides. We really thought we were done for, the whole bally company. We were taking a real pounding from their cannons, so all we could do was run for our lives. Hey, I mean, it happens, right? I ain't gonna hold it against you. Oh. I thought that story was going in a different direction, actually. But how old is... 46. Yeah, well, the whole experience taught me one thing, I can tell you. When you're done for, you're really done for. Jeez. Maybe you should take up a second career as a motivational speaker, my dude. Ugh. That's not what a lawyer who often finds himself under fire wants to hear. Also, apparently the Battle of My Wand was a real battle. And, in fact, it was one of the principal battles of the Second Anglo-Afghan War. That was in 1880, so... It's another one of those things where you kind of get... Again, I don't know. The game is obviously unclear, like, what year exactly this takes place in, but if 1880 was, like... If this dude is like, oh, you know, he talks about it like it was, like, a long time ago, you know, that at least gives you an idea of the setting. Or, like, the time period, to be exact. I still estimate, like, it's probably somewhere around, like, 1899. Like, I want to say, like, maybe, like, right around the turn of the century. That's an impressive collection of cakes on that fancy silver cake stand there. I feel sure that it was full of cakes when we first investigated in here as well. Ah, yes, quite right. Haven't touched it since. Haven't done much at all, really, since it all happened. Time's rather stood still for me, you know? Oh. Time has stood still? Now that's an interesting phrase. I might be able to use that excuse when I'm next supposed to be tidying the office. You could just tidy up, Mr. Naruhodo. Damn, where's Phoenix? I wonder where Phoenix got his, desire to clean toilets from, if Mr. Naruhodo doesn't like to tidy up. But yeah, like I said, I know, I like those kind of dialogue exchanges. It lets you, you know, you learn little bits and details and get to see the characters interact with each other. It's fun, you know? Oh yeah, there's also one other exchange I wanted to share. Now, some of this is, I think is similar, but there was another exchange, I think, with the shovels and the spades. Yeah, there's actually a trophy to be had if you, apparently, you find all of the shovel and spade exchanges. Perhaps we should put this spade away somewhere. It's not a spade, Naruhodo-san. It's a shovel. No! Shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade. No, spades are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a shovel. Damn, look how intense she's looking at me. Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter, does it? You're so right, Naruhodo-san. You mustn't quarrel over such trifles. On reflection, then, I think I'll leave the spade where it is. Yes, I think that's for the best. We may need a shovel when we're working in the garden. Oh, Sazato, you tricky little devil. Also, again, I don't really know the difference, TBH. Like, can we just call a spade a spade? Like, is the fucking shovel police gonna come in if you incorrectly label the shovel the wrong way, or whatever? Oh well. Anyway, there's just that exchange that I wanted to show off because I thought it was nice. Let's see. We went to Briar Road, we went to Garrideb's. All of us still not there. Can't go to Mr. Shamsir's room. So, yeah, let's go to prison. See what our good friend Mr. Natsume is. I see you're adjusting to it. Well, February 21st, by the way. Oh, look, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, Mr. Natsume. Have the police finished questioning you now? Look of students, Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire! Oh, yeah? What is he? Tell me, is he a ghost? Is he here to haunt me? Let me guess. You're talking about Mr. Sholmes. He actually calls himself a great detective, Mr. Natsume. Not a ghost. But his diabolical deductions, they're not of this world. They've left me. I'm cursed, I tell you. Well, that sort of hurts. Credit where credit is due, Mr. Naruhodo. You were heavily involved in the deduction as well. I mean, yeah, again, we kind of had to take some responsibility. It wasn't just, Sholmes. It was kind of our bad. Yes, moving on. We have some wonderful news. Oh? The victim that we all thought was dead has come back to life again. Oh, I feel like that's not good for his constitution. Now, in the absolutely worst case, you could only be tried for attempted murder! Yay! Attempted murder! It's amazing! No, awesome! That's, it's great, isn't it? Mr. Natsume? It's terrible! Uh-oh? I'm stuck in the cell, suffering for some silly, wrong end of the stick. You did it, didn't you? Confess! You're a killer. Why the mustache? Okay, I feel like you can't really blame the mustache, or hold that against him. Mustaches and beards were pretty common in this time period for British people and Japanese people, I think. Constant questions! I'm sorry to hear that. Ugh! That selfish shyster! Make up your mind! Are you dead or alive? If you're going to come back to life, why bother dying? Wickedly wishy-washy William! Yeah, that'll show him. Well, it seems likely that Mr. Shamspeare was never actually dead in the first place. Ah, yes. That might make sense. And I'm pleased that he's alive, of course. Our lively debate last night was much fun. I'd be sad to think it was our last. A lively debate? Oh, oops. Mr. Natsume, does this mean that you did see the victim last night? You met with Mr. Shamspeare, didn't you? I'm not saying another word! I demand to have a lawyer present! Who the fuck do you think I am? What do you think I am? I mean, come on, I'm fucking Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Lawyering is what I do. Please, Mr. Natsume, we need to hear your side of the story. Why am I cursed like this? Hey, I mean, it happens to the best of us, you know? By the way, do you want to see my armband? Have I shown you this before, Mr. Natsume? Oh, yes! The sweet, sweet aroma of our beloved homeland! It shows that the wearer is a defense lawyer. It means nothing in Great Britain, of course, but I still wear it. Oh, I know exactly how you feel, locum student Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire! My Haramaki belly band! I don't feel right without it! Your, Haramaki belly band? It's perfect for the cold English winters. Just the thing to keep my tummy warm. Oh, well, nice to know your tummy is keeping warm. Yes, I see the link. Almost. I mean, yeah, it's like it's Japanese clothing that makes you feel better, you know. By the way, how do you feel about soap? Do you want some soap? I got soap. Do you need soap, Mr. Natsume? Because I got soap for days. Mr. Natsume, what do you know about this? Ah, there it is! That lathery lowlife that took my neighbor's life and sent me sliding to the depths of despair! slippery, sickly, psychotic saboteur! Okay, well, the psychotic, that doesn't actually start with an S, so the alliteration doesn't quite work. But I get it, you know, you still pronounce it as an S. Wow, you've really gone off soap, haven't you? Absolutely, and I've made up my mind. The next time someone gives me soap as a present, it's friendship finished firmly forever. Okay, well, geez, I know what I'm not getting you for Christmas, Natsume. I don't know that we can blame soap for everything that's happened, Mr. Natsume. Let's see. Hey, how about these books? Your book receipts. You remember this, don't you, pal? Mr. Natsume, about this receipt. It occurs to me now that it was those confounded books that saw me arrested the first time, too. Yeah, because they saw the books. Because you left the books at the scene of the crime, you know? Oh, yes, I suppose that's true. After I spent my precious pennies on them, that's the thanks I get. Now I don't know when I'll read them. No, not when. If! I may very well hate them too much to even open their covers. Yeah, that'll show those fucking books. I don't know that we can blame the books for everything that's happened, Mr. Natsume. Well, clearly, they are definitely part of your bad luck. That's for sure. Any thoughts about this? Mr. Natsume, it's nothing much, but... It's been too long since I've been offered a present with the delightfully humble etiquette of our homeland. What? You're too kind. I accept it gladly. Sorry, but, I wasn't trying to give it to you, actually. Oh, well. I mean, is this map really going to come into play if it was used as evidence before, you know? Yo, what about these teacups? Any thoughts? Oh, I guess not. Okay, yeah, I guess not. Okay, fair enough. I guess we will just have to chat. Can you tell us exactly what happened last night, Mr. Natsume? There's nothing to tell, but, Mr. Naruto Esquire, I'm eternally grateful to you for helping me with that accursed case yesterday. The case that saw poor Miss Green hospitalized after she ended up with a knife in her back. Oh, it's hard to believe that was only yesterday. Yeah, you're telling me. Feels like it was a while ago now. I mean, for me, because, you know, game time and other cases. But, yeah, chronologically, it still feels a bit strange. Because we're in the second game, but it's only a follow-up to what happened in the last case. But, yeah, that's fair. After the trial was over, I trudged my weary way back to my lowly lodgings. That evening, at past 9 it must have been, I visited Mr. Shakespeare. So, you did go to the victim's room, then? As we feared. I didn't do anything wrong! I'd never been to his room before! It was the first time! Then, what made you decide to go? I bumped into him when I arrived back at the house. We got chatting, and it developed into a discussion. But he had to go out, so I bade him farewell. That ties in with what Mr. Garrideb said, that the victim went out and came back after 8. We met again later that evening, at around 9, or just after, when I took him some nice tea I brewed as a gift. So it was you who brought the tea that had clearly been drunk at the scene, then. And, I suppose you were discussing the works of Shakespeare, were you? Ah, yes, that's right. That's exactly right. Romeo and Juliet! Who was the stronger? It was a delightful debate. I'm sure. Such a stimulating subject, Shakespeare! And, the debate became very heated, so you slipped poison into Mr. Shamspeare's tea. No! Never! Not at all! Team Juliet won! That was me! And when I left his room, the flamboyant fellow was fighting fit! I swear it! Categorically! So, okay, so you had a fight over, or a debate about who was stronger? Oh, that seems like a weird thing to have a debate about, but okay. Mr. Natsume, you often say the same thing about yourself, I've noticed. That you have a cursed existence. I mean, you are pretty unlucky, so I can kind of see where that comes from. I'm sure I've mentioned this to you before, but I've been here in Great Britain for a year now, and in that time, I've learned that it's no place for me. It can be very trying to live in a foreign land and adapt to the ways of another culture. There are foreigners everywhere I look, and they all stare at me. They all laugh. That's the impression I get whenever I go out. It makes me scared to leave my room, which is why I've become a recluse. But even in my room, I find no respite from my fears. I've moved more times than I can remember. And then, 1 week ago, I moved into Briar Road. But why? I mean, why did you choose that place? It doesn't seem very, comfortable. Because the rent is cheap. I have so little money. It spoke to me. The rent. Obviously, there's a reason why it's cheap. Because the room is cursed. Cursed? Cursed how? The previous occupant, the man who lived there before I took the room, died there. Oh no! He was only a young man, but one morning he was found dead, and no one could explain why. Surely no one would want to live in a room with a history like that. I didn't. When the letting agent recommended the place, I wavered. But I want books, and books cost money. A horrible history is a small price to pay. When I realized it would mean I could buy more books, I signed the lease like lightning. Brave or blingered. But after I moved in, I soon came to realize what I'd done. I realized how horrible that room's history really was. Gosh, was it really so awful? Yeah, I mean, it's just a room. How bad can a room really be? How did the room's horrible history affect you, Mr. Natsume? What happened? At first, it was just a feeling. The feeling of beady eyes boring into my back, watching me. Do you think that might just have been your mind playing tricks on you? No. My mind doesn't know any tricks. It was someone else. It's been one long nightmare ever since I was given the keys to the place. A nightmare? You've been having bad dreams, you mean? All the souls who've died in that room lean over me in my sleep and try to strangle me. That really is horrible. And now I come to think of it, it happened again last night too. The very same night that Mr. Shamspeare was writhing in agony from the poison in his body. I was on the verge of being suffocated silently by those miserable spirits in my room. You simply must move out of that room as soon as possible. Yes, you're right. I know it. And that's why I'm already searching for the next room with a history to call home. I think perhaps you should try to avoid accommodations with any kind of history at all. Yeah, man, it sounds kind of weird, kind of spooky, and also not good for your mental health. Otherwise, I'm scared that you yourself may become history. Yeah. Yeah, that is something to be worried about. Woo! Susanoo-san knows how to make the man listen. I guess it is ultimately for his own well-being. Of course. Mr. Lord of the Manor is worried about the curse on my room as well. You mean Mr. Garrideb? Yes. He knows that if people keep dying there, he'll never be able to rent it out again. I mean, yeah, death is kind of a downer when you know deciding what places you want to stay in. Well, I mean that's true. I for one wouldn't go near the place. Ah, perhaps that may explain why the landlord pays so much attention to the gas lamps and his tenants' movements. You mean because he's worried about their well-being? He does seem to have an unusually keen interest in the amount of gas in the pipes. I mean, yeah, it is a bit strange, but I guess, you know, having your tenants dying on you is isn't great for business. So I can understand that. There must be a reason why he keeps such close tabs on the occupants of his let rooms. What do you mean he pays so much attention to the gas lamps? Oh dear, no. It's nothing to do with you, Mr. Natsume. Please, forget I said anything. Oh, now you're talking about me behind my back as well. What's important is that Mr. Shamspit isn't in fact dead at all. Once he's come around and is able to tell us what happened, we'll be able to get you released. Yes, please! Oh, I do hope you're right. Ahead! Excuse me. Oh, it's Gregson again. Hello, Mr. Gregsus. What say you now to fucking ruin our days? Inspector Gregson? I couldn't help overhearing what you just said. And, on that note, I have some good news, and some bad news. Oh Christ, not this shit again. Oh. What do you want first? Always! Every time! The bad news comes first! When hope is all you have, hold on to it! That's my guiding principle. Yeah, that sounds like something that's fitting for you. Right, well, in that case, the good news it is. Wait, what? He said he wanted the bad news. Huh? Yeah, sorry, but it's just a lot easier to explain everything that way. Well, geez, why don't you give us the fucking option, then? Then why did you ask me about my preference? Yeah, exactly. As you might have heard, the victim, Mr. Shamsphere, was just unconscious. He's come round now. Oh, yes. We saw it happen in all its terrifying glory. He's still being treated by the doctors, but we've managed to get a written statement from him already. Oh, isn't that wonderful, Mr. Natsume? Oh, thank goodness! It's all over then. I can leave this somber cell. Sorry, no. That's, it's not on the cards. What? Why ever not, Inspector? Mr. Shamsphere has implicated someone as being responsible for what happened last night. Implicated someone? Oh, dear. You don't mean... I'm sorry to say I do, yes. He's pointing the finger at you, Mr. Natsume. Gah! By sweet poison did he seek it to end with my life. That wickedest caitiff, Soseki Natsume. No! So I'm afraid you'll be appearing in court as planned. You'll be wanting to make the necessary preparations. Nah! No! Oh, I'm sorry, man. But I kind of had a feeling it wouldn't end so happily. And so, once again, Suzuki-san found himself having to take the dock in the Old Bailey. Whether his room was haunted, or whether he was just terribly unlucky, I knew I had no choice. The following day, I would represent him in court, and do my utmost to break the curse that blighted him. Yeah, we gotta stick up for Natsume. Oh hey, it's to be continued. Oh, is that like gonna be it? Like, I mean, as far as the investigation goes, are we going like right straight into the trial? Okay, trial part 1. Huh. Well, I don't know. I kind of assumed we'd be talking to Shamspeare before the first day of the trial, but I guess not. Well, hey, it's been a while since I've been able to end on a to be continued, so I'll take that opportunity for what it's worth. So, yeah, I think I'll wrap things up for now. We'll be able to start. Actually, well, yeah, we'll be able to start the trial on the next episode, and I'm sure that'll be interesting. I mean, again, it's interesting that he's not dead, but you do have to wonder who poisoned him, you know? But anyway, I guess we'll save that stuff for the next episode, I suppose. Good stuff, though. I mean, I enjoy talking to Natsume and whatnot, so that's always an advantage in my opinion. Oh boy, he sure is unlucky, though, or maybe cursed. I'm not sure. But anyway, until the next episode, I'll see you around.